I need to get this off my chest. So my story with the Dusty is I this is a message for all of the girls and women that are dating or looking to date right now. Do not date a Dusty. Do not date them because it's just a bad experience overall. If you have to date them, date that type of person, do it once. Do it once so that way you can figure out what it's like so you know what you don't want. The reason why I'm talking about this is because last night I had PTSD memories come up while I was having an intimate moment with my partner. Why do you have to date the Dusty? It's because you feel so low that you feel like you can only be with this person as opposed to being with someone else who treats you really well and you're like ignoring all the red flags. That's just so dumb. When I was dating and single, I dated a lot of different types of people. And according to Shira, I dated some Dusties, and that was really eye-opening for me. And I even got into a relationship with a Dusty. And let me tell you, when men receive things that they don't work for, they can become very entitled to it. And then when you take it away, they get mad because they think, oh, this is how my life is supposed to be. I'm a man, I'm supposed to have all of these things. But if he's not doing it and you're the one that's doing it, then when it gets taken away, they're going to be mad because they're going to have to do that work now with someone else. So, my story with the Dusty is I don't know why I did that. Okay, so I'm just going to freestyle this. I'm not going to script it because I need to get this off my chest. I did not have a very good experience with a Dusty. I was dating somebody who said they were starting a business, but they didn't really do a lot for their business. They were trying, quote unquote, but they didn't really do a lot. But the reason why I liked this person was because they were giving me a lot of attention, and that was what I needed at the time. And they gave me a lot of, they were like doting a lot, but I had to pay for everything. Yes, he had a car, but he lived at home with his parents, and it was better than the situation I had at the time because I was houseless. Okay, I was nomadic. I was so hungry for love that I was good with crumbs, and they weren't even good crumbs. At the end of our relationship, we were not having any sex, and I got off birth control because, like, what's the point of being on hormonal birth control if you're not doing it? So I was like, let's just be friends because I've known you for so long. I literally met him in kindergarten, and I was like, let's just be friends because it's not working out as a relationship, and that's fine. Like, that's fine with me. We can still be friends because he has some redeeming qualities. Of course, I'm not going to be with a complete loser, but we weren't compatible. It wasn't compatible for me. He was saying things like, why don't we have a place yet? But I was the only one who was working, and I was giving him business tips on how he could increase sales and how he could like make things more profitable for himself, but he never really did anything. He just was at home smoking grass and then playing video games. When we broke up, like he was so happy with the way things were, but I, of course, wasn't. And I was talking about it, and like I wanted my own place and all this stuff. I wanted more. And he found out I was sleeping with somebody else, and he was so mad that one day he he kidnapped me for a week. And this was really strange because I think he had done a lot of mental manipulation. Of course, we were in a bad dynamic. It wasn't just him, it was two of us together. We were not compatible, we were toxic together. And he had broken down my self esteem so much that when he found out we were broken up and we were still hanging out and everything, He kidnapped me for a week to punish me, and he made me do things like do laundry in public, which is weird because like I had laundry at my place where I was living with my grandma, and he had laundry at his parents' place, but he wanted to see me do it in public. It was like a humiliation thing. He would spit on me. It was like the whole week was so messed up. He was hitting me with things. He was hitting me with like a pillow, like a really hard pillow. I know you're like, oh, it's just a pillow. No, it was like a really, really hard pillow. And he was saying things like, oh, you won't have bruises because it's a big pillow. But I can't remember exactly what he said, but he would say things like people use weapons in pillowcases like oranges or something because you can really hurt somebody, but you won't see the bruises, but it really can do damage. So I'm like, he says stupid things like that. That's a red flag. I shouldn't have been with him. Doted too much. That's a red flag. So during that week, I was still going to work, and people were like confused. They're like, why are you so upset? Why are you like not Kiki? Back then it was cat. Why are you not like normal cat? What's going on? And they couldn't place their finger on it. And it was messed up. Like it was going on for a week. I even went to doctor's appointments. I went to my physiotherapy appointment. He was like, bring me food. Like, so I did. Like, it was such a weird mental manipulation that I was like leaving the house and coming back. I don't know why I was doing that. And when I bought him food, I remember him like chewing it up and then spitting it at me. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, I brought you food, and that was messed up. But he was doing that for a week, and it was a big blur. And I don't know what happened, but after that week, oh, there was another thing. He took me to my bank and he made me withdraw money. I didn't want to do it. It was in an ATM. I don't I wish it was during the day because I could have been like, no, this man is, could told the teller, this man is forcing me to withdraw money from my bank account to give it to him. Like, and I don't want to do that. But it was at night. I remember exactly which one it was. He made me withdraw $800. That's all I had saved up. I was 22, okay? I was trying to save up money so I could do something with it. Maybe get my own place. Yeah, get my own place. I forgot. I was living at home with my grandma. That really set me back because I needed like a deposit. You need a deposit before you get a place and all that stuff. And so yeah, so he made me withdraw all of the money. Messed up. And after a week of this torture, I don't know what happened, but inside I was like, that's enough. Like I've had enough. Maybe my soul inside was like, you've had enough, Kiki. Like stop. Stand up for yourself. I stood up for myself, and he like actually became a baby. I was like, no, that is enough. And he like backed down. He like became like a child, and he got scared. I don't know what he was scared of. I was like, no, you're taking me home. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't know why you're punishing me for sleeping with somebody else. We're broken up. And then he took me home. And then a few nights later, he was out with friends and he had done some Coca-Cola and was drunk and he couldn't drive himself home. So he came to my house and he was knocking on the window and I was like, what do you want? I should have answered it. I should have just left him alone. I should have just like not opened the window. But I opened it and he's like, I can't drive home. I am intoxicated. I'm like, well, that's not my problem. And I closed the window. He kept knocking and then I went to the back to open the door. I was like, go away. And you know, I should not have opened that door. I should have just called the cops. I should have been like, no, go away or I'm calling the cops. But I opened the door and I was like, no, go home, go away. And then he barges in, okay? And I was like, no, you can't stay here. And we argue about this for a little bit. And he's like, I'm too intoxicated. I'm like, you have to go home. And I'm just going to say it. And he stayed the night. And he was saying things like, you're having other people, won't you have like, and I'm like, I was so frozen because this guy had like beat me up for like a week and embarrassed me in public. I guess that's humiliation for a week. And he'd been so cruel to me. I was literally frozen when he came to my house. And I just remember like just letting him do things to me. And he left. He he had a condom. He's like, you're dirty now. like you're sleeping with other people, so I have to protect myself. And I'm like, okay, like I don't know. It was just a lot of messed up things. I was so in shock. And, and then he left in the morning. Like I was like, excuse my language. I became paralyzed. And then I took a shower after he left. And I just felt so disgusting. I just felt ugh. My sister, for some reason, decided to come downstairs. She lives upstairs in the upstairs apartment with my parents. And then I was living with my grandma downstairs. But so she came downstairs. I don't know why she came downstairs. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No," because I was in a towel. And she's like, "What happened?" And then I told her what happened. And then she was like, "You have to call the police." And so I did. I was in a towel. I was disgusted. I was crying. And then I was in a towel because because after that I had to go to work. So I was trying to get ready for work, but I couldn't do it. And I went to work after this, after I was SA'd. The cops met me at work. Um, I got paid for that day, which was sort of nice at least. But I told them that I was working that day, and they told me if I didn't feel safe at home to go to work and meet me at the loss prevention office. So they met me there, and I got to see what was behind that room in the loss prevention office. Got to see all the cameras and the TVs that had all the cameras, which was really cool. I think they were trying to calm me down. Now that I think about it, I was like not 100% calm. I was just essayed and I had gone through a week of mental torture. They were just trying to calm me down. I bet you I was showing signs of distress physically. And after the SA, it didn't get better. I was still like, after that process, I was still shaken up. Like, the police came, had bruises, they took photos. I had to do a kit at the hospital. They had to check my vajayjay and they took like samples and they had to do, when they like put a speculum inside you and they can't use lube because they don't want to ruin anything. So like I was already injured down there and they saw that there was damage. Poor vagina. There was damage and saw there was tearing. They had to do like they swabbed it with some colored material to see if there was damage. And there was quite a bit of damage on there because I didn't want to obviously didn't want to sex. I wish he put his gum in my mouth because I would have bit it off. But yeah, after I called the cops, it was still quite violating. I had to go to the hospital for a and they also came to my house and then they stripped the sheets for samples. They went through my garbage. They like went through everything. They even took my phone. And so it was very violating after still. But I was like I just felt so empty already. It didn't matter to me that they were gonna go through all my stuff. I was so like I don't know what that is called. Um, I'm obviously in a parking lot, that's why there's noises. But yeah, I was so deflated that I felt like, yeah, why not just go through all my stuff? Before the trial was happening, I got a phone call and they said, "Are you going to be pressing charges?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And they tried to bully me over the phone and they said it was his lawyer. And I don't know if that was true or not, but I said, "I'm going through with the trial. Thank you." And I hung up. Like, I didn't know what else to say. I didn't have any energy to combat these people on the phone. I just said what I was going to do and I wasn't going to argue. I was just like, that's it. So I did that. He went to trial and he pleaded guilty. They gave him a lighter sentence. And I now have a lifetime of free counseling because of what he did was so horrendous. I'm still reeling from the effects today. He's probably fine. He like went to court and they gave him a lighter sentence and he's still fine. Like he could do things, but for me, like I have to still deal with it every so often. I've gone through therapy. I've made a lot of peace with it. I've made a really good life and done a lot of self-reflection and development because of this. So I'm really happy about that because I wouldn't be where I was today if it wasn't for this really super negative experience. It's like the universe was telling me, you need to learn this lesson um about self-love. Okay, if you don't, I'm gonna make it really hard. And I wasn't learning it over the years. And then she's like, the universe is like, okay, I'm gonna make this really hard so you learn the lesson. Okay, yeah, this is hard. The reason why I'm talking about this is because last night I had PTSD memories come up while I was having an intimate moment with my partner. And this is why I'm like so adamant that people don't date dusties. If they do, date them once, learn your lesson, and move on. Like, sometimes I'll get flashbacks of memories, and that's it's really intense. And I feel like when I'm in a good place, really good place emotionally, and I feel like they come out because my body's like, let's get rid of this. It's like a poop in my head or something. It's gotta get rid of that memory. You know, I did a lot of growing from it because it reflected a lot of things like, why did I want to be with this person who wasn't right for me? Why was I so okay to shack up with this guy? And it was because wasn't I wasn't loving myself. Like I didn't do any self-development back then, but after being with him, it spurred me to do more self-development because I thought I don't ever want to be in this again. He was a closet gay and I was his beard. So I mean, I'm very flattered now thinking that he chose me to be a beard, but also at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being gay. Just be gay, okay, and find someone that you love that is your orientation and be happy together as opposed to always being secretly angry at women and taking your anger out. Okay, I went through a lot of therapy that was specifically for women, and it was with a therapist who was specially trained for domestic violence. And I'm very grateful for that because I learned the source of where all of this came from and why I was feeling this way, why I was looking for love in all the wrong places because, you know, I mean, this is gonna be another story for another time, but I'm gonna tell you real quickly. My mom didn't love me. She shouldn't have been a mom. She was too young. Like, I was adopted by my grandma pretty much, and I've had a really broken mother wound and sisterhood wound, which is why I'm trying to heal that and learn about relationships and, you know, get rid of my misogyny and work on getting really quality girlfriends to heal that. Yeah, so it all stemmed from that. And I will go into another video about that another day. That's my story about domestic violence, and that is my story about why you shouldn't date a dusty. And if you are gonna date a dusty, date them once so that way you understand. And after that, I leveled up a lot on my own. And I wish I did see Shira 7 when I was starting because it would have made it easier, but I read books. I went to therapy. I worked on myself. I went to the gym. I changed my look. I did a lot of things. I changed jobs and I started dating and I dated a whole bunch of people without sleeping with them. I didn't give them the cookie. This is back in the day. And it changed my life. I read a book called Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. That changed my life back then. I don't know if it's applicable today because, you know, society has changed. Steve Harvey needs to make a new book. But that is my story of why you should not date a dusty. Yeah. And I hope women out there can learn from my story and you don't have to go through what I did. I mean, it may not end in domestic violence. It may just end really harsh. Like, it could be really a bad breakup, or you could die. Someone told me they're like, you are really lucky, Kiki, that he didn't kill you. He had a machete in his room. He had weapons in his room. But I think he didn't want to kill me. I think he just wanted to take his internalized anger out on me for being a closet gay. Yeah, but this is my story about domestic violence. I might actually add some more. We will see. Anyways, guys, I love you and we'll see you soon. Bye.